Let's go ahead and get the phone. All right, for George. Please proceed. All right, looks like we got everybody back. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully enjoyed this break. We are ready to get back into the deposition testimony. Mr. Camarillo.
Mr. Honor, for the record, we're resuming deposition at minute 55:01.
Mr. Reeves, do you remember if you made multiple calls regarding this incident that night?
No.
If I played another clip from a 911 call made that same night, would it refresh your recollection?
Did you play it on my recall?
For the record, I'm playing 601.
Investigation, Dr. Allen.
Yes, ma'am. Is this the sheriff's department?
No, this is the dispatch center dispatch for the state police.
Okay. I thought with somebody while ago they just.
Mr. Rubin, you want to hand those out first?
Somebody to 220 Satilla Shores, Satilla Drive.
Uh-huh.
You did talk to the officer there, I think the suspect is in the cabin type boat in the large garage area. They had a tool bag. I think they might be trying to steal electronics out of the big boat in the garage area. And I'm scared that he went around to the back, the officer went around to the back, and I'll give him a chance to run out the front, so I'll let him know.
Does that refresh your recollection on whether you called back that same night?
Yes.
Okay. Is that your voice on that 153B that we just played?
Yes.
So the dispatch center moves to suspend the state for 153B in the evidence?
No objection.
And we're saying Eli Boyd,
B the boy.
no objection.
Same objection.
Mr. Jimmy, I'm going to continue playing state exhibit 153, please. I'm sorry. This is state exhibit 153B.
Hold on just a second, okay? Is there more than one boat on the scene or just the one boat?
There's a little boat and a big boat. The big cabin boat is the one that they stole us.
I apologize, this is not 153B. This is state exhibit 154.
So for the record, 153B has not been admitted. 154, the objection is noted.
This is the second 911.
This is the second 911 call. State
first, and I can't get back with a tool bag to seal the electronics that was mounted in the boat. But he walked around back, and I'm scared that maybe trying to run out the front on him. They might be hiding in the boat.
How many are there total?
There was a male and a female. And they were carrying what I call looking tool bags, so I know that the first time they went, they sold everything, it wasn't fastened down this time, but they may be prepared to steal the, what kind of electronics out of the boat.
Okay, but did you see them actually take anything out of the little boat?
No.
No. Okay.
Okay. But the way the house is not finished, and when he walked around back, and that's not seen his flashlight, they could have run out the front, really hiding down in the cabin of that boat, and the floor of that boat, back in, up under the big garage.
All right, we do have him on scene, and we'll have the dispatcher take him all that information now. If you see anything else, you call us back, okay?
Thank you.
No problem.
Mr. English, you remember? Ever making any other calls that same night?
No.
If I played you a clip from a third call that night, would refresh your recollection about whether you made another call that night?
You could.
The record on the play states it was 1:55.
Remote communications operator 917.
Yes, ma'am, this is Reggie. He was, call about, some big intruders on property at 220 Shores, Steel Drive. They have a officer over there now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use call me right now, ma'am. I think I have. Thank you.
You remember making that call?
Yes.
And is that your voice?
Yes.
This time, they moved Tender State to the 1:55 and then.
No objection. Same objection.
The record replay states it was 1:55. Mr. English, I have a few questions about those 911 calls. You said during the call that you had some stuff on about a week and a half ago to 2 weeks ago. Do you remember what you were referring to?
Yeah, there was a Yeti cooler in the back of the boat, and, it's called Eper satellite.
And you said it Eper.
Eper, yes,
How do you spell that?
I guess, Eper, I don't know.
You know roughly what all that cost, the value of that was?
$2,500, a handheld mic that runs second station back to boat and station gear.
I think you might have referenced that you said maybe they had taken it, they're coming back. Do you know if it was them that took it?
No.
Okay. And you know that when that stuff was stolen?
No.
You said roughly a week and a half ago, in that 911 call, you said roughly a week when it was stolen, or maybe when you noticed it stolen?
When I was aware of it missing.
That's when you were aware of it missing. Okay. Where were you when you became aware of that was missing?
I was on the ladder looking at where they would drive out the roof, which normally go through the floor. They had to go through, I was up there inspecting, they had run high to top of the wall where the wiring, there's a lot of wires right there I'm concerned about. And I was down in the back of my boat, which was right there at the corner. And I could see a cooler basket, a metal basket that goes inside of it, laying in the floor, but there's no cooler. And that's when I got in the boat and realized some other stuff was missing.
And that was when you were at 220 Satilla Drive that you noticed it missing?
Yes.
Okay. Now, was that boat at that property for a continuous amount of time, or did you move that boat to and from other locations?
It had been moved back to Douglas, Georgia, multiple times, at least 2, 3 times.
Was it ever locked up in a closed garage whenever you moved to separate locations? Is there any other locations where you believe those items that were taken from the boat could have been taken?
After the fact, studying it, my first assumption was HVAC guy had taken it. So I called the owner of the company and confirmed about it. I did a video of this couple thinking that the mail might have been one of the workers, and he said he didn't know what hit it. So that kind of pulled that out. And then I think it could have had this because when we had in the park where we were staying, my brother-in-law was, he had business, had a place above it to live, we were staying there. Outside, they had some street lights, and there's a dark area, and where I had the boat parked, it's kind of a dark area. One night, me and my son come in about 9 o'clock or so. We saw 4 individuals going across the parking lot from maybe the pages 9 or 10 to 15 or 16. And it dawned on me, maybe that could have been who got it, because there was no houses in that neighborhood, it was commercial district. There was really no houses there for them to be going back into, so then I thought maybe I had assumed too quick that I already accused the HVAC guys. And that's kind of how that happened.
Did you ever make a formal police report about that theft?
No.
And why not?
Well, didn't really 100% know where it happened at. I didn't make a formal police report, or I didn't try to collect on my insurance I had on my boat.
You were maybe offhand telling police officers about this incident?
Yes.
You remember?
I'm sure I spoke with them, I don't remember all the details.
But you remember talking to some police officer about it?
Yes, and while I was calling back on 911 calls, now I recollect out of those 3 calls, my camera was still working, and I could see when the officer arrived, I could see him walking around in the backyard with a flashlight looking. Maybe he went around to the right or the left side of the house. And I was thinking maybe they was inside the house, and maybe he stood there and went out. That's what happened about.
And in one of those clips that we had did it look like they were moving across the yard somewhere, leaving?
Yeah, one point you could see in the far top left corner, close to the porta potty, you just could see them walk by, I guess, corner at the top of the car. You can hear it crank up and then you hear it leave.
All right, I'm gonna go back up on the screen, exhibit 122. It's been already admitted into evidence. Can you see that through English?
It's not coming up yet.
It's not connected.
Hold on a second. You sure you don't think it's one?
Nothing.
Take a short recess.
It calls their English.
Putting a sync clip of the deposition, part 2 edited.
Mr. Rickers, we have back up on the screen, safety exhibit 122B. And I'm gonna go ahead and play that for the record. It's already been. Up in the top, I'm gonna put my mouse at the top left-hand side of the screen. Can you see that?
Yes.
You know, it's like electric.
No, I'm not positive about it, maybe, so,
Okay. And then out this right here,
looks to be the car that the male and the female got out of.
and this lighter portion that I put in the arrow on the top of the screen,
That's the street light in the street.
and out this right here.
That's Mr. Wade's pickup truck.
And what are these strips right here?
One of them's a power pole, one's a temporary pole.
Where did I put my arrow on two dark shadows at the top of the screen? And then what about these smaller shadows at the top of the screen?
That's mailbox post.
Mailbox posts. There's 4 of them. Is there a reason why there's 4?
One of them's neighbor across the street.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Is there a reason there's multiple mailboxes on your property?
Yes, one's across the street, the other one is Mr. Wade's, and, actually, well, Mr. Wade's is actually to the far right, the small post there, so. 3 other neighbors down the street has us there makes it more convenient for a postal carrier.
Okay, so is that how many of the properties are set up on that street to have one property with multiple mailboxes?
Well, I guess they kind of made it easier for the postal carrier.
So this camera, this is about as far as you'll get in terms of visuals from your camera into the street, is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Rivers, I'm gonna go back for a second and talk about you as a contractor. Is it common, was it common in your experience as a general contractor to have people come in and out of construction sites?
Yes.
And, in your experience, did you ever see that? Did you have names for them, anything like that?
Frequently during the daytime.
And these people that would come in and out, Were they property owners or just people walking through the street or?
Some of them will just be people in the neighborhood, not ride down their golf cart on the weekend, go through and check out the progress. Sometimes you'd have a potential home builder, the prospect of one building you want to come through to check the quality of the contractor out.
So that was a normal course of business when you're building either a structure or homes for people to
Judge, I'm
come
going
in?
to object to leading questions. I'm good.
Was it normal for people to come in and out of construction sites?
Yes.
All right, Mr. English, I'm going to play for you another. Well, let me ask you this, were there more times that you called the police other than the ones we just played for you?
There could be, I'm not sure.
I'm going to play for you. Stay to it, 157, and I want you to tell me if you recognize what it may be, okay?
Okay.
Corporate Communications Member Johnson. This is Corporate Communications.
Yes, I need to, this is Larry English from 220 Cecile Drive. I called last night, and there's somebody back over there on the property at the end of the night. I just talked to Officer Rack, and he said he's not on duty, so he told me to call again.
Yes, sir, you said it was 220 Cecile Drive?
You recognize your voice, Matt?
Yes.
Exhibit 157?
Yes.
I believe that to be the 911 call that you made.
Yes.
So does this time state 10 is 157 in the evidence?
No objection, Judge.
No objection.
No objection.
For the record, on the play states 157, the rest of it?
Yes, ma'am, 220 Cecile Drive, and tonight it's a black male where he's not wearing a shirt, got tattoos on his arms, and a pair of looks like maybe black colored shorts.
Okay, you said no shirt and light colored shorts?
It looked like, yes, a black in the camera, but black colored shorts. And tattoos, the same guy that was over there about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Yes, sir, can you tell what he's doing?
He was just wandering around under the carport looking in the boat. I'm going down the road and my camera's off. I'm going down the road. He just kind of looks like he doesn't know good.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay. This is your property? This is your property?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I have a situation with this thing goes out, if you give them a message, if you give me a call, I don't know if you got my number, 928-9905.
Yes, I'm going to get it from you. Just 1 second, okay? And you said that you haven't had a position on that as well?
Yes, but it was more than it was quite, it was female last night. And I did send, I sent him a video of it. And I can send him a video of this same guy tonight. I can send him also, if they'll give me that number, I'll send him a video.
Okay. You're working at on a camp.
Just installed down the 1950 one does find that electronic over there. I put it on camera. You can put it on that season, call it.
What was it? And verify that phone number for me one time, Mary.
912-218-9905.
Thank you. And you said that you did
Well,
want.
there's a story we'll get out, and it's not completed yet.
Sorry. All right, so what it is, I went ahead and put in there that you do want a phone call from the officer that responding.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir, absolutely. And you're whatever the officer calls to, they come in as a phone officer. I know, just make sure that you're prepared to answer, okay?
Okay.
All right, so thank you so much. If you do see anything, make sure you call and let us know, okay?
Okay, any activity happens before officer call me, I'll give you a call back.
Yes, sir, thank you so much. I'm looking at the officer actually, so I don't say it for you, okay?
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir, you're welcome. Bye.
Mr. English, you obviously made a 911 call that night because you saw somebody on your property, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember, I think in the 911 call, you said you sent the clip to Officer Powers?
I did what?
You said you sent the clip to Officer
Yes.
Powers? You
Yes.
remember doing that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to put on the screen, State Exhibit 123, and tell me if you recognize what it is, okay, sir? In 123, there are going to be 2 clips, A and B. I'm going to put A on the screen for you now, okay, sir?
All right.
Do you recognize 123A?
Yes.
Okay. And what is this a clip of?
I'm walking around in my garage.
That seems to be the correct copy of
Yes.
that clip. At this time, state moves to place 123A into evidence.
No objections.
No objection.
No objection. Mr. I'm going to play 123A, okay?
Okay.
And Mr. I'm going to point to a few things on the screen. Can you tell me what they are?
There's a lot of plywood and
All right, there's a lag on the a little slower. Okay, what is this a picture of?
Another piece of plywood.
And I'm gonna put my mouse up the left-hand corner of 123A. What is this right in the corner?
That's my small boat.
On prior calls, you had mentioned things being taken out of a boat. Is this the boat that you were talking about? Okay, so this is not the boat.
No,
Mr. English, I'm gonna put on the screen 123B. And is 123B, do you recognize what this is?
yes,
And what is it, sir?
looks like the gentleman approaching the back of the boat.
And is this a clip from your surveillance
Yes,
in the site?
yes,
Okay. Does it seem to be an accurate copy of it?
yes,
Should this time state move to place 123B into evidence?
No objection.
Okay.
Committed.
Mr. English, I'm gonna play 123B. Mr. English, were you able to see more of what happened that night with this person on this clip? More than what's captured in those few seconds?
no,
Okay, so this is what you saw on your screen, or on your, well, let me ask you this. You remember seeing,
do what now?
you remember seeing this?
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
how did you see it? I think in the 911 call, you said you were on the road,
possibly,
okay? How would you have seen this clip?
on my phone.
On your phone? Okay. Do you remember anything being taken from your house that night of this clip?
No,
Did you ever see this gentleman with anything in his hands
no,
or on his? In the 911 clip that we had played, you said that it looks like he was up to good. You know, remember who said that?
no,
That clip, you said that he was on about 3 different people's cameras. You remember how you got that information?
I don't remember making that accusation, I'm sorry.
In the course of your time down at Scylla Shores, do you ever remember looking at any other neighbors' surveillance cameras?
Repeat the question, please.
During your time at Scylla Shores, that you own the property, do you ever remember looking at other neighbors' surveillance cameras?
You talking about footage?
Footage, yes.
No, no. Well, there's one instance, the first house coming in on the right, the best I remember, if I didn't dream it, it showed that he was supposedly had some guns stolen out of the truck, and it showed some individuals parking across the road, coming over, but they had hoodies on maybe, and supposedly stealing something out of the truck. That's the only footage I saw. And I don't remember where I saw the footage at, I don't know, I don't know how that happened.
Okay. You said they'd come in a car? They looked
I
like
think
a car.
it was a car.
And on this night, did this person ever cause any damage to your property or disturb anything
No,
that you have seen? And you never spoke to this person that night, right?
no,
Did you ever tell this person anything about whether he can come and go on your property?
No,
Do you know if the police ever found him that night?
I don't think they did.
Mr. English, I'm gonna put on the screen let me ask you this, do you ever remember making any additional 911 calls?
No,
If I played an additional call, do you think it would refresh your recollection?
probably.
I'm gonna put on the screen Stacy Exhibit 159, I want you to listen to it and tell me if it refreshes your recollection.
Police officer, Texas, 4915.
Yes, ma'am, this is Larry English from 2 minutes of Hill Drive.
Yes, sir.
A week or two ago, I had some trespassers over the property in the middle of the night on cameras, and I talked to Officer Rash and some different officers. I can't remember who was on video.
Yes, sir.
Looks like a car that might have been involved.
Is that your voice, sir?
Yes,
Okay. And do you remember what this call was about?
yes.
Okay, what was it about?
Was down after the instance when the white male and female was in the house, and I left my property to go to Brunswick, and I saw a car parked down close to the bridge, and it stayed there. It was still there when I came back from Brunswick, and it was kind of a rainy, overcast day. You know, I was kind of suspicious of who it might be, thinking maybe it was the couple that had went in the house, and maybe they were staying under the bridge, because they was rumored that someone had been staying under the bridge.
And that seemed to be an accurate copy of the 911 call you made pertaining to that incident? Judge, this time state, the tender states 159 as evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection.
Okay.
Mr. English, I'm gonna play states 159.
Whenever they come on the property, they parked over here at the bridge, Fancy Bluff Bridge.
Yes, sir.
And I was wondering if there's a deputy that might could come over and check it out.
For one moment, you said a Fancy Bluff Bridge?
Yes, it's right here off of, that's Cecil Shores, off Cecil Drive. It's, you actually come on, Cecil Drive, and then you go down beside the highway, I guess that's Highway 15, that goes toward the port, the Cardinal. Go down beside it to right there where the bridge was at, where they put a car, the vehicle. They've been, the neighbors said they think there's some people, might be somebody living under the bridge.
Okay, so that, you said a Fancy Bluff Bridge, correct? Is that before, it's last that line right there by the Port Authority?
It's on the side toward the truck stop, toward the interstate, it's on that side, it's not on the Port Authority side.
Okay, after you pass the overpass right there?
That's where,
Did it pass, is it Love? Did it pass Love?
yes, you come by Love's, the truck stops, you come by Love's, and before you go over the first little bridge, you turn to the right, to Till Shores, there's a little, grass area that you drive down the side of the highway to get down to where the vehicle park.
Intersection streets, I'm sorry, because I'm trying to figure out, it could be, so you said the Till Shores.
Yeah, they'll come to the Till Shores and to the Till Shores, to be able to go down that little, access ever side of the highway to get to the bridge, the front of the bridge where the vehicle's at.
Where do you live, sir?
At 220 Till Shores subdivision.
Okay. You say, transit?
And when they turn in, they'll be look, when they turn into the Till Shores, they just need to look for that way for that full strength bus bridge, and they'll be outside to pick up power, see the people down there. When they turn in, at the side of the Shores, they can look down, get to look at east, down the side of the power line, and they'll get down there, right, and where you walk from the bridge.
And what, you said it was a 50-bus bridge?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the car?
It looks to be a real dark blue, almost black blue.
And someone broke here, or was on your property, and they had it was in this car?
I have some stuff stolen out of an offshore boat that I have under the garage, we're building half in the middle, building half in the boat, stolen under the garage. And I have a bunch of stuff stolen out of the boat. And then, weeks or so later, my camera was stored up at the time they sold. But I got fixed, and now, a week or so later, they, showed up on the camera about 10:15 when I took the tool bag, like they were going back in there to steal some more stuff.
Yes, sir.
My video to Officer Rash, I sent the video to one of the other deputies that was on a call, other people.
Yes, sir.
Larry English. Have you got my number there on your ID?
Can you give me the real, please?
912-2-way-9905.
Yes, sir.
And if Officer needs to give me a call, just tell me to give me a call. I'll leave it Dutch, I'll come down here to show some stuff. And I know it's not people down there, so I'll go down beside the highway and glance at it. And it looks real close to what was in the video. It's a little bit of a video I had that night. So that's how you drive it.
Are you leaving right now? You are a lesser?
I was fixing to leave, but I can hang around if I need to. I can see him with video, I can see video, see what the people, just see what the people look at.
Did you get out of there down there with that car?
I didn't go all the way down there, I just stop sign right there, kind of looking at it, I can go down there, and kind of conversation or something like that.
Yes, sir.
I just kind of looked at it when I went over the bridge, I went over the start off and looked at it. I could see it from the side, and it looked real close. Before they described it, the neighbor said, they thought somebody was living under the bridge, I thought it might be. And they,
I'm sitting in with bosses to come what's going on.
okay, I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Mr. know if there were figuring out those people were.
Yes, there's somebody fishing under the bridge.
There was times where maybe you saw something on your surveillance camera where you didn't call 911 at all.
They could have been, I don't recall.
You remember sometimes, or you remember calling maybe neighbors or the police directly rather than 911?
I probably called Officer Ash's phone real quick after he gave it to me when it first started, you know, when we first went over there first time.
And what about any neighbors?
I don't know, I think I might have called Mr. Kenny Wade and one of the nights that, somebody, you know, there, and maybe he told me that his girlfriend and her sister was there by themselves. That's about all I can remember.
Okay. I'm gonna put on the screen for you, Stacy, 124. And there's 124, the three clips, A, B, and C. For the record, I'm gonna put up 124A. And I want you to tell me if you recognize what it is.
Yes, I remember.
Okay. What do you remember this to be?
It's the colored gentleman walking in the living room.
Okay. And do you remember if you called 911 that night?
I don't remember.
Don't remember. Does this seem to be an accurate copy?
Yeah.
Does this be an accurate copy of the clip from your surveillance?
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry, move to 124A. Is it evident?
No objection.
No objection.
No objection. Then I'm gonna take for the record 124A. This triggers this movement visible to the camera. At nighttime, is this visible to anybody? Or is it, what's the lighting like in your house, in this construction site at night?
There's no line.
So these cameras, they pick up other sources of maybe light and you can still see the camera footage?
If the camera's triggered, and the house, and I see a car out of it, that you won't see.
I'm gonna put my house on the not circling, this is stage 124A.
Compound ladder saw,
And what is this long thing sitting on?
cut board,
You said cut board?
yeah, that the saw sets on.
And the wood, or these pieces of wood that I'm showing with my mouse, what is this?
That's the walls.
They're not finished or are they finished?
No, they're not finished.
Was this saw ever taken in any of, at any time
No,
during construction? Was anything ever taken from that structure itself, construction site itself?
that I know of.
You're trying to put on the screen 124B. Please tell me if you recognize this clip.
Yes,
Okay. What are we looking at in 124B?
looks like a gentleman walked out of the garage.
Does this seem to be the same night, connected with that same night?
I don't remember.
Does this seem to be a true and accurate or a good copy of the surveillance clip? Now, this time, state move to put in state exhibit 124B.
No objection.
Okay.
Mr. English, on the left side of 124B, where my mouse is pointing, it's like a dark, long space. What is that?
That's the RV boat garage.
An RV boat garage?
Yes,
Okay, near the bottom of the screen, what are we looking at here?
that's a skid steer forklift.
Skid steer forklift?
Yes,
And what is this room here? To the right.
that's the double garage where you park cars.
Do either of these garage areas have doors on them
No,
at this point?
no,
Is this part enclosed in any way from front to back?
the back of the house has plywood on the walls.
Does the back of the house have any doors at this time?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Mr. English, I'm gonna put up 124C. I want you to tell me if you recognize this.
Yes,
And what are we looking at in 124C?
gentleman leaving the house and jogging down the street.
And is this the front of your house?
Where your arrow's at?
Where the arrow is at, is this the, what is
Yes, that's in front of the garages,
That's the front of the garage,
between the street and the garages.
and you got a true and accurate clip
Yes,
from your house?
yes.
Where state moves to 124C, any other?
Objection.
No.
Okay. The record 124C. Mr. English, it looks like something, maybe,
Objection, Your Honor, reading.
Mr. English, do you know what the weather is during the time of this clip?
No,
Can you see something dripping down from the video?
yeah, it looks like something moisture dripping off the end of the house.
When did moisture generally drip off of your house?
Repeat the question, please.
I'm not sure
All right, Mr. Rich, I'm gonna put on the screen states 117. And there's one clip, this is stage 117, can you tell me if you recognize what this is?
Yes,
And how do you recognize what this is?
that's the inside of my mother in the kitchen.
It seems to be a, accurate copy of the clip that you have.
Yes,
This time, the state needs to place 117 in evidence.
Objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor. Submitted.
For the record, I'm playing 117. I'm gonna pause it, Mr. English. Where my arrow is pointing up to the top of the screen, what is this light coming from, and what is this up here?
that's the street,
And what is this right here again?
compound ladder saw.
And Mr. English, was anything taken from that that you know? Anything damaged?
No,
And at this point, did you ever have an opportunity? Yes, sir.
I would appreciate it, this gentleman will cover his nose up.
You're referencing one of these gentlemen.
Okay, yeah.
Put it down, so what we-
Yeah, he's,
To your knowledge, Mr. English, did anybody ever, the person that we've seen so far in these clips, did you ever have a chance to tell him anything,
No,
give him permission or not permission to be there?
no,
All right, I'm gonna put on the screen, State's Exhibit 120. For the record, there's 5 separate. One second. Mr. Is that last clip that we sent, or that we put on the screen, do you ever send that clip to anybody else?
remember it, but I could have.
Mr. I'm gonna play State's Exhibit 120A. I want you to tell me if you recognize it.
And Judge, if it'll save some time, I don't mind stipulating that all of the videos contained in 120 are authentic and from his English video surveillance system.
since they'll really be authenticated by other witnesses in the trial.
I'll go for, let's just do a few phrases, make sure you can identify when we will kind of go through the identification side. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Mr. English, in this clip 120A, do you recognize what this is?
That's between my garage doors and the street.
And is it a view from a surveillance camera in on your property?
Yes,
And it seems to be a daytime clip, does that look correct?
yes,
And you remember taking multiple clips from this same time frame? From different angles, different cameras in your house?
I don't remember that day.
Okay. I'm gonna put up one more. I'm gonna put up 120B and just see if you. Is that a different angle?
I remember it, yes,
Okay, so there's multiple angles taken from that day?
I guess so, yes.
No, this time state moved to place 120 and 5 associated clips in evidence.
Objections.
No objection, Your Honor, but for the record, are they A, B, C, D, E? Is that how?
They are, and I'll go through them and ask them.
No objection.
No objection, Your Honor. The record I'm playing 120B. And is this the inside of your house, sir?
Yes,
Where my arrow's pointing, what is this a picture of?
car garage,
And on the left side?
RV boat garage.
And does this look similar to nighttime clips we saw previously?
There's no,
For the record, I'm gonna put up 120C. For the record, I'm gonna put up 120D. And 120E. Mr. Say, or do we see some of the same items in this house or in this construction site? In the daytime, Johnson and I,
yes,
okay. And from your knowledge, this point has never been taken or disturbed.
no, anything.
You remember if you released this day during this daytime clip?
I think that,
And you remember the day that this clip was taken?
I may not be the day that Mr. Arbery got shot.
Okay. Do you remember if you called any neighbors that day?
I did.
Do you remember who you called?
I called, Diego.
Okay.
after the shooting had taken place.
Mr. English, at some point, did you send, you've seen a variety of surveillance clips today, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. At some point, did you ever send these to your lawyer?
my lawyer,
Your lawyer, yes.
I could have, I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay. And who is your lawyer?
Beth Grady,
Okay. Do you remember whether your family had sent any clips to you, to Ms. Grady? Grady?
not that I know of. My wife, my son for me, I don't know.
Okay. But you remember her obtaining clips from you, is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor, who sent it to the reading then?
Sure.
Let's clean up in the record.
Did you ever send any clips to your lawyer?
Not that I remember.
Does your security cameras, do they capture the date and time that things occur?
Repeat the question, please.
Do your security cameras capture the date and time when you're recording?
Yes, yes.
Do you remember ever looking at the date and time on these clips when you were recording them or sending them to officers?
No,
Do you know if the date and time was accurate?
I guess they would be if they go by Wi-Fi. I'm assuming maybe the date is automatically recorded. That's all I know about that.
Just paused.
Mr. English, I'm going to turn and talk to you about some of the relationships people in your neighborhood that you may have, okay? Do you know a person by the name of Diego Perez?
I know of him. Not person, never met him in person.
How do you remember Mr. Perez? When you first come in contact with him?
The best I recall, the neighborhood had found out about some of these situations and instances. And I want to thank the DA who reached out to me, and I want to thank my techs offering his help. If ever needed to call him, if I seen somebody on property and I wasn't there, our yards connect. There was one yard in between us, but there was not fences cutting his property off of mine. He offered to go over there and check it out if I needed him to.
And so you communicated with Diego through text messages, is that correct?
I don't remember texting very much. I don't know if they maybe one, maybe a phone call or two.
Okay.
And the day that I called him might have been one second, third time I, might have been the first time I ever called him.
Okay. And did you give Mr. Perez permission to go on your property to check things out from time to time?
Yes,
And you remember showing some of these surveillance clips of anybody walking around in your house to neighbors?
I don't remember showing anybody. I could have, I just said I don't remember.
Yes, sir. And if you're looking at your house at 220 Satilla, Mr. Perez, does he live to your left or right?
To the left,
Do you know how many houses now?
there's one house in between us.
And who's that house between you?
Kenny Wade,
Kenny Wade?
yeah,
Do you know a person by the name of Matt Albenze?
I think, I don't know the last name, but I know Matt.
You know a Matt?
Yes.
Do you remember whether you ever showed some of the surveillance to Matt?
Possibly, Matt would come, like he was pointing out the mailboxes.
Uh-huh.
Matt was one of the people that has a mailbox there. Matt usually walks over and checks his mail, and I'm under the garage a lot of times working, and Matt may come up there and talk to me, and I could have showed Matt that.
Yes, sir. And do you remember a person by the name of Ronnie Olson or John Olson?
There's Ronnie across the street, I don't know the last name.
Okay. Is it Ronnie across the street from you?
Yes,
Okay, and you know that person?
I just know, yeah, but he walked over also and spoke, but that's about it.
Sure. And he lives directly across the street from you?
Yes,
Did you personally ever put any of these surveillance videos on social media?
no,
Do you know a person by the name of Travis McMichael?
yes.
And how do you know that person?
Travis, if I remember, is the son of the youngster too, and when I had my dock under construction, I was down on the dock one evening, and there was a big barge and crane on the water where they were building my dock, and I was standing on my dock in a little small wooden boat with a small boy come up to where the job site was at, and we spoke for 15 minutes or so.
And your only interaction with Mr. McMichael, with Travis McMichael?
Yes,
Do you know where Mr. Travis McMichael lived?
maybe, I don't know how many houses down it is. I mean, I know the house whenever I pass it by a truck, but I can't tell you how many houses down it is.
And would that be to your left or to your right when you're looking at the
Be to
video?
the left on the other side of Diego, going past my house and Diego's house.
Do you know what sort of vehicle Mr. Travis McMichael drove?
The only vehicle I remember right off is a gray Ford truck. I don't know if that was Gregory or if that was Travis's truck.
And that was a Ford truck?
Yes,
Do you know a person by the name of Greg McMichael?
yes.
And how do you know that person?
Greg came to my house one evening out in front of my garage. We had a conversation. A few minutes after we had started talking, his wife came up and he introduced her, and we talked, couldn't tell you anything specific we talked about, just kind of small talk. I don't remember any of the details. That's the first time that I had ever met Gregory McMichael.
Yes, sir. Did you ever have any other interactions with Mr. Greg McMichael?
I did.
And tell me about that.
I know after this shoot, and I was putting tools on trailer, and, he approached me that day, and we was talking, and some of it was talking about what had happened. And he made a comment, he wished people wouldn't be talking on social media.
At that point, had you talked to the media all about the shooting?
I think I had one, maybe two, I'm not certain, but I had.
Okay. Did you give the interviews or audio interviews?
I knew that I had done audio interview. I'm not sure if there was a TV interview that had been done at that time or not.
At some point, have you given a TV interview to anybody?
Yes.
And who was that?
Chris, on CNN.
And Cuomo and CNN?
Yeah.
Do you remember any other TV stations?
I'm gonna say Jack's 4, but might not be right on that, I'm not sure. Whoever it was came out and interviewed me and videoed it in the VR, I do remember that. But I don't know exactly what channel.
Yes, sir. You saw Jack's 4?
I think so.
Okay. And you said it was at your BER?
Yes.
Is that a different property?
Do what?
That was at a different property?
Yes, that was in Douglas, Florida.
And at any point during your interactions with the McMichaels, did you ever give them permission to go on your property, express permission?
No.
Did you ever tell them they couldn't go on your property?
No.
Did you ever personally tell the McMichaels about any prior incidents at your house?
Probably, I'm not sure.
During the course of your conversations with police officers that responded to your house, over the course of the times that you called 911, did you ever tell any of those police officers whether anybody took anything from your house?
Not that I remember.
At some point, did you learn that somebody had been shot near your property?
Repeat the question, please.
At some point, did you learn that somebody had been shot near your property?
Yes.
Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Do you remember what you were doing that day?
I was in the VR working. I wasn't working. I had two men with me that was working.
Okay. Do you remember ever calling the police about any incident like that day?
No.
Do you remember talking to any neighbors about it that day?
Yes.
And who was that?
Diego.
And at some point, did you check your surveillance camera
I did.
about that day?
Yes.
And did you see anything?
And I saw part of the clip, the last clips that you showed.
And you remember emailing those clips to anybody?
No.
Do you remember receiving any sort of video from anybody that day?
No, not really. I don't recall. Well, I believe Diego sent me a short clip. I think he might have sent me I mean, it probably text.
Do you remember what that was of?
It was a distance from where the scene was of the shooting. And I may remember a fire truck being in the background. Fire truck or ambulance, I'm not sure.
Out of all the times the police came to your house, were you generally satisfied with their response?
Yes,
Do you feel like they did a thorough job?
yes.
At some point, do you remember giving interviews to any law enforcement regarding anything?
Interview?
Interviews, yes.
No.
Do you remember if anybody from the GBI ever went to your house?
Oh, yes,
And do you remember talking with them?
yes.
Do you know how many different GBI agents you would talk to?
3 or 4, maybe more.
Do you remember speaking with somebody named Seth Hollander?
No,
Do you remember speaking with somebody named, with the last name Seacrest?
I maybe remember that last name a little bit, but that's all.
And you happen to remember the dates that they came out?
Today?
Yeah.
No.
One second, Your Honor. At any point in time, did you authorize the McMichaels to ever confront anybody on your site?
No,
Or to act on behalf of the police on your site, on your construction site? And other than Mr. Perez, did you ever give anybody else express permission to confront anybody on your property?
No.
Do you know somebody by the name of William Bryan?
I know William from videos, not personal.
Do you know if he goes by a name named Roddy?
Heard that.
Have you ever spoken with that person?
No,
Have you ever communicated in any way with that person?
no,
Do you know what that person looks like?
I can't remember. I recognize him, you showed me a photo of him.
If you could stand up briefly, and if you could take a look around the courtroom. I know it's hard because people have masks on.
That's right.
You see Mr. Bryan?
Yeah, that's him.
And what is he wearing?
White shirt with gray tie.
And Your Honor, this time, the state would show that he has ID, Mr. Bryan.
No, not understand, he's identifying the person he's never met, never spoken with. Okay.
I asked if he knew who he was and who
objecting to the identification.
I'm objecting to the identification, I'm objecting to what the relevance is. If he can identify him today based on things that happened after the shooting, what would that be relevant to?
We should have done that before we got into the whole identity part of it, but as far as the identification, state's request is the record reflects that he had identified. That's what the state's request.
Mr. Evans, could you stand one more time?
He had in fact identified Mr. Bryan as the individual white shirt with the gray tie and quarters.
Thank you. Do you see Mr. Greg McMichael in the courtroom today?
I think that's Greg in the corner, I'm not sure.
Does it look similar to him with the
Looks
mask?
something other than the mask, yeah.
And what is he wearing?
It's still black suit, black tie.
And you spoke with Mr. Greg McMichael in the past?
Yes.
Okay. And Your Honor, at this time, state asked that let the record reflect that Mr. King identified Mr. McMichael in the courtroom today. Does the record reflect that?
It does.
Thank you, Judge. And Mr. English, do you see Mr. Travis McMichael?
Yes.
And where?
Checkered shirt with a dark blue jacket or black jacket.
Have you spoken with him in the past?
Yes.
Does the record reflect that he has identified Mr. Travis McMichael in the courtroom? And that's the person you know as Mr. Travis McMichael?
Repeat the question.
That's the person you know as Mr. Travis McMichael?
Email.
Travis McMichael?
What about it?
That's the person you know.
Oh, yes, yes.
You can have a seat, sir. Thank you. And Mr. English, have you ever spoken in the past to Mr. Bryan?
No.
You've never communicated with him?
No.
And have you seen him in the neighborhood?
Never seen him, never did.
Have you seen him on TV?
Yes.
Do you remember what you saw him on TV from?
I would object to the relevance of this line of question.
Because I'm just trying to show how we would be able to identify him.
Again, relevance, well, what's the relevance of the identification?
First things first, I mean, he's already got the.
Judge, at this further time, no further questions subject to redirect.
State ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're at a good breaking point for lunch. We'll go ahead and break for an hour. If you just please plan to return at just after 1:30. That period of time, again, do not discuss this case amongst yourselves. Don't go looking for any information about the case. And if anybody is talking about the case around you, please let me know and we'll go ahead and see if we need to get that addressed. So with those instructions and all the other instructions I've given you, enjoy your lunch and we'll see you back in an hour. Thank you.
All right, for the jury.
So after lunch, we'll play the third part of the video and then move into live witnesses in the afternoon, move back into live witnesses in the afternoon. Anything from the state before we recess? From Travis McMichael.
No, Your Honor.
Gregory McMichael.
No, Your Honor.
From Mr. Bryan.
No, Your Honor.
All right, we recess them until 1:35.
and then you take that video and you post it on where?
Twitter, mainly, social media.
You also have your own YouTube channel?
Yes.
Do you have your own independent website that you operate?
I do have an independent website, yes.
What's that called?
DrewHLive.com.
What is that?
That's my own independent website.
But is it like a news source? Is it
It's
a
an
blog?
independent website
Of what type?
for myself.
You characterized yourself as a professional commentator. What does that mean?
That means that I comment on the news professionally on a daily basis.
Professionally meaning you're paid?
Yep.
Who pays you?
I am employed by Real America's Voice.
Real America's Voice?
Yes.
What is that?
That is a news commentary, breaking news website. They have their own apps and website.
Other than getting paid by Real America's Voice, do you get paid by any other source to do your professional commentating?
No.
Is your Drew H Live website part of Real America's Voice?
No.
The things that you post on your website, Drew H Live, do you also share those with Real America's Voice?
Depending on what's going on where I'm at. But this is unrelated to what happened in Kenosha because I was not employed by Real America's Voice at the time.
That's something that's happened since then.
Yes.
And does Real America's Voice have any sort of political bias or agenda or anything like that?
What is the vote?
It goes to the bias of the witness, Your Honor.
The bias in what respect? I assume that people, as I commented at the beginning, this is not a political trial. And I don't know how you would isolate a person's particular politics and determine that that person is going to evaluate the evidence one way or another.
Okay, I'll move on. Your videos that you have captured of these incidents that you call riots, they're very slanted against the people who are rioting. You characterize them as Antifa, Black Lives Matter rioters, correct?
Because they are rioting in the footage, yes, absolutely.
So you came here to Kenosha because you felt that's what was going on here.
I felt like it could have possibly been a riot on the first night. So when I showed up, it turned out to be a very violent riot.
And you continued to cover that on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday night?
I covered it Sunday night. I went back to Chicago Monday and then came back Tuesday.
So you weren't here on Monday night at all?
No.
And on Tuesday night, you were recording video with your body cam?
Yeah.
You were also recording it with your cell phone?
Yes.
The last video that we just watched there of the shooting of Joseph Rosenbaum, was that recorded on your body cam or on your cell phone?
Both.
I just saw one video. Were there more than one video that you just shared with us?
There's two. There's the body cam and then there's the cell phone as well.
What was the one we just saw?
I believe that may have been both.
Where is the body cam located when you wear it on your body?
Right here.
And when you recorded the shooting of Joseph Rosenbaum, where were you holding your cell phone?
Right here.
Okay, so the cell phone is, you're using your right hand, above your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Shoulder, same as my shoulder right here.
And the body cam you said was over on the left side of your chest. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
The video that we just saw had a single angle. It did two separate angles. So when you tell us that's both, I don't understand what you mean.
I mean, there's two recordings of the same thing, and that's why I submitted to the defense and the prosecution the entire videos. There's maybe about 80 to 100 videos that you guys could examine for yourself.
I know all that. What I'm asking you is what we just watched. Mm-hmm. Which camera were you using to record that?
Both.
Is that video edited?
No, I have not edited it, but it has been put together at the right time, the timing.
Who did that?
I did that.
So you combine two video sources into one?
With the same timing and audio, but at the same time, it could also be seen, the jury could see for themselves. If they look at the body cam footage, it's the exact same thing.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Don't wag your head in response to the witness's answer.
What you said, if the jury looks at the body cam footage, is that separate from the cell phone footage?
Yeah, there's obviously two devices recording.
And you're telling us that the video that we just watched, can we have exhibit 151 played again, please? Mr. Hernandez, we have the video that was the last one played for you, Exhibit 151 up on the screen. Can we play that forward, please? Now, as we're watching this video, Mr. Hernandez, you're telling us that what we're seeing has been recorded by two separate devices at the same time?
This is a body cam.
Okay. Is there a point in this video where it switches to your cell phone?
Yes.
Can you please point that out to us?
You'd have to fast forward all the way to when I get to car source 3.
Can we skip, let's skip to the 2.5 minute mark, I guess. I don't know. Let's pause.